Hello and welcome. It is episode number 17, the Hilarious Humanitarians Podcast. I am Frances Echeverria, licensed marriage and family therapist.
And I am Deanna Silverman, licensed clinical social worker.
We need to start the episode by explaining your new coping strategy because it's going to distract me throughout the entire thing.
Yes, this is the whole hashtag humor heals coming into action because we need some laughter up in here.
We do these days. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I bought these tiny hands, these little rubber tiny hands that I bought these a couple years ago. They're so creepy.
They fit on your on your index fingers.
Yes. They fit on each fingertip. And I actually bought 5 of them. I'm going to find the picture because I put it up a long time ago. And I was having a particularly stressful day. So I put them on all 5 of my fingers, which looked like then I had 25 fingers because I was I'm going to do a super high, a super waving high. Because I'm really big on saying hi to strangers.
Oh gosh, you are. Not me. We're so
I know.
off.
Well, my whole thing is just look up and smile at somebody. So one day, a couple years ago, I was having a very stressful day and I put all these little tiny hands on every finger. And then I drove around the neighborhood waving at people.
You're so weird.
I know. But you know what? I think people were a little weirded out, but more than not, people were super into it. I got a lot of laughs.
So we're going to be sure to put all of these up on our Instagram, by the way, because I've totally taken pictures. So we know. Last week it was the unicorn head. This week it's little tiny Deanna fingers.
Yeah. So I just was I'm having a really stressful week. I got to bust out my tiny hands. So here we are.
Okay. So Deanna, I think we could agree that without getting into any specifics, it has been a rough week and a half or so online and just in the world.
Yes.
So we debated a little bit on what we were going to do.
I actually used my blood pressure cuff more than usual this week. I don't.
That's good. That's good to monitor. Now, we decided that a great way, because humor heals, is to get a good laugh at our expense. And more specifically, my attempts to try to bust back into the dating world.
What? You're back in it? You're okay. Before we get into this topic, I just want to say that if you follow, I don't know if, Frances, I don't think you've gotten too political on your Instagram.
No.
But I am going full bore. So I just want to say really quick before we jump into our topic, which is more light. It's meant to bring a smile to your face, that we are going to be talking about the stuff that's in the news about mainly the March for Our Lives movement that I'm so proud of that's been happening, that's coming up in regard to the shooting that happened in Florida. I just want to say that we're going to be paying our respects in more ways than one. It's just this particular episode, we decided to go a different direction that I think a lot of us will connect with and just bring some smiles and laughter, but just know that we are going to pay our respects. So I don't want anybody feeling like we're just brushing this aside, because I know that if you guys follow me on Hilarious Humanitarian, I'm definitely not quiet with serious topics that affect us all. And I just wanted to be clear that we're in no way trying to avoid this topic.
Right. And part of the way that we plan to approach this topic has everything to do with the way things will play out in the next few days and weeks in regards to the very specific approach we want to take. So it will make sense when we get there, and we'll be able to have a conversation and hopefully some special guests actually that'll be joining us. So we'll get to all of that. But
all right. So what's up? So you're back. You're single?
Yeah.
Single?
Yeah.
By the way, everybody, Frances, she's beautiful every day, but she just, what's going on? You look very, very, you are super hot right now.
It's the donut scarf is what it is.
Are those donuts on the scarf?
I'm wearing a scarf. It's fancy. It has donuts all over it.
Oh my God.
I have my priorities straight.
You.
So we've talked about our kind of relationship struggles and challenges, and it's no surprise, it's no secret now that I've been divorced twice, but I realize why, Deanna, I am a serial monogamist. It's because dating absolutely fucking sucks. And I am so bad at picking dates.
So we talked a little bit about this before we started this recording, and Frances and I both agree. I agree. Like before I met my husband, I would say like, okay, I think my picker is broken. And I was like, Frances, is your picker broken? Is it broken? Is this what's going on?
You know what? That is, it was a little more eloquently how Dr. Drew Pinsky put it once when he was at a speech I was at, but he was talking about how our intuition, our internal kind of measurement system gets messed up sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, it is broken. So the good news is, like life happens. You meet people, you figure out if you click or not. And sometimes it takes time and sometimes it's disappointing. And sometimes you're the one doing the breaking up and sometimes you're the one being dumped. That happens. That's life. Look, I've ended 2 marriages, so I would much rather try and figure this out than to stay in a place where I'm going to be just shutting down that entire corner of my life. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. And on the topic of Dr. Drew, when he was on Loveline, I was just like a crazy fan of Loveline. Loved it. And what you just said reminded me of something that he would always say. And when I was single, I actually applied it to my own life, which I feel like got me in the direction to being open to the experience of meeting somebody like my husband. Do you remember when Dr. Drew would say this? He'd go, when you meet somebody initially, okay, by the way, guys, I'm paraphrasing, I'm sleep deprived, so I'm not doing any direct quotes.
But actually, though, if you want to like raise hell and let Dr. Drew, we're misquoting him, if you could do that so he would pay attention to my Twitter attempts to get in touch with him, go ahead. You tell Dr. Drew that we did this all wrong, please.
Yeah. We would love to have him on the show. So Dr. Drew, come with your direct quotes. We love you. No, but okay, in all seriousness, he would say something on Loveline to the effect of like, when you meet somebody, I hope I'm not botching this or getting this totally wrong, but this is what I took away from it. When you meet somebody new and you're single, if they make all the like fiery feelings, like they're super, like you find them super attractive and you're just like, oh, I need to be with them, I want them, that is when you actually turn the other way and like don't go there.
Yes.
Do you remember? Okay, so I got that right?
That's basically what he said. Yeah, because you're being attracted to the same dysfunction that you're finding over and over and over again.
Exactly. And mind you, the person that you're dating or people that you're dating, they could physically look this similar. You know, we could say, oh, I have a type, but they could also physically look completely different, like different ethnicity. Somebody could be 7 feet tall. Somebody could be 5 feet tall. But at the end of I can only speak for myself. My experience when I was single was I dated across the board. Like I dated Caucasian guys, Hispanic guys. Like I dated all sorts of colors, shapes, sizes, whatever. But a few months down the line, I would realize it's the same dude, just dressed up like in a different costume. Like it's the same guy. How did I do this? Like, and initially it didn't feel that way. But the common denominator for me in like listening, being open to what Dr. Drew was informing and educating and preaching, and then looking at my own experience, and this is the whole like own your own bullshit, is this is what I was doing, was I would only really be open to the guys that I would meet who set off like fireworks, you know, in me. Like, ooh, I want to be near them. I want to be with them. I'm just like super attracted. They would seem different from my ex. And then as it turns out, like, yeah, I was being like subconsciously drawn to just like the same type of guy. And I'm getting the feeling, Frances, that you've had a very similar experience.
I have. And, part of change is recognizing your patterns, and there becomes any change. And I teach addictions counseling, which is based in motivational interviewing, which is based in people creating change. So it's like I sit back and I can psychoanalyze myself like crazy. Part of any change is recognizing something's going on and then coming to terms with it, owning your own bullshit. But then there's this very distinct moment where you go, do I really want to change this?
Right.
Because once you know, like you can't, you took the pill, in terms of like the Matrix, you took the pill, you can't unknow. But humans, myself included, we're really good at just ignoring that or being like, nope, I know I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to sit here. And I have certainly come to a place, it's taken time, but I'm starting to realize that I don't want to sit in that place anymore. Like I want to show up with all of my stuff. I'm pretty well adjusted, I would say. And like, I want to embrace a little of my Deanna, like take it or leave it. And I am super understanding and everything, but like, I need somebody to meet me here.
Yeah. Meet you halfway. Like you can't be the one doing all the work and like bending and being flexible and compromising yourself. And you can't be
losing yourself in the process. And something I've noticed over the years, and this isn't just in regards to like my most recent exchanges or interactions in the dating world since I got divorced, March will be 2 years coming up. I don't know, whatever. It's been a while. Is that sometimes like I just kind of take the back seat. Like I put aside a lot of the characteristics that I find I'm most proud of to just try and stay quiet. Right. And really, and if you look at developmental stuff and like life, it makes a whole lot of sense. But I just decided that my picker's broken. So I'm going to try something totally new.
I'm excited for this journey that you're about to embark on. It's not easy. Because I remember I remember distinctly when I was sitting there, I was 30 years old and I just had my breakup with a boyfriend I was with. And I remember distinctly being like, dude, my picker it is so broken.
Right.
So broken. It's like, it's just not working. And so I was like, okay, I just need a different approach.
And so you went to friends, right? Like you met your husband through a friend.
Yes, I met my husband because whether or not you believe in this, like I threw it out to the universe and I was like, I am open to the experience of being hooked up. Also, it's kind of hard. I'm sure there are many people out there that feel this way, but like I had never been hooked up by anybody. I'd always tell people, set me up with somebody. Do you know somebody? Like I was always asking around. And I know that I'm a different type of personality. And I would have friends just come out and be like, Deanna, you are a bit of an odd duck. And I mean that in the most loving way. And it's just going to take a very special type of person. And unfortunately, the people I know in my life,
they can't handle you.
Would not be able to handle you. Exactly. But I threw it out there and I had a friend who I worked with. And anyway, I'll get into it later. But yeah, I met my husband through a friend.
So I've come to the conclusion that as much as I love my friends, they absolutely suck in this way. The vast majority, actually, it's only been in the last couple of years that I've really had like solid girlfriends. I've had guy friends. And they will tell me time and time again, you need to stop. You need to stop. This is what you deserve. No one will make it through their screening process, but they're also not bringing anything to the table because their standards for me are so high.
Okay. So your friends are like, I don't like who you're picking. You need much better. But then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody? And then it's like crickets. Like,
right.
Well, I don't have anything.
That's exactly it. But so Deanna, I work for a psychiatrist who's very open about the fact he met his wife doing online dating. In fact, he did the Dr. Drew method. He said he picked 3 people out of all of them. And he went through like, I don't know, over 1,000 profiles, right? He picked one that was certainly one he would date. He picked one that was kind of in the middle and one that he would never date. Guess which one he married?
100% he married the one he would never date.
Exactly.
No?
That's exactly what happened.
Yep. And you know what? I got it. Like I knew like my husband is an amazing man. and he was amazing. Look like like looking back, he was an amazing man when I met him, but he was the total opposite of who I would have ever seen myself marry. He was the opposite of who I thought I was looking like, who I thought I should have, who I should be with, been with. Yeah. Okay. So did he say like it was a process? Was it hard? Because I mean, it was work for me too, to like remain open.
So he said yes. And I mean, and they are like the super cutest couple. Oh my God. And they got married later in life too, but like, they're always together. They work together. They, they clearly live together. But one of the things that I thought was interesting, and he told me this, he was like, he came out really early on and was like, here's all my bullshit. If you can't handle it. That's what I did with my husband on our first date. And I actually am starting to believe, I saw this, it was actually on a meme account for like a social work advocate. At first dates, you should be like, tell me what your childhood trauma is and how you're working through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's true. You can sit there listening on the other side and being like, Frances, I know everybody says your childhood trauma affects you. It doesn't bother me anymore. Listen. It does. If you keep finding yourself in repetitive situations that continue to reinforce a negative sense of self-worth, or that people leave you or abandon you or reject you or blah, 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 or you're not enough, then there is clearly some work you have to do. And clearly what I've noticed in this process is that I have a lot to do. I have a lot to do myself. So I'm working on that. There's no like end game here until I'm dead. But here's what my boss told me, Deanna. He said, there's this website and I'm not going to give the website because they don't deserve my attention. And I'll tell you why in a moment. But basically they set you up for a meal with somebody. It's like a matchmaking service.
Okay. I'm listening.
When he did it, you had to pay, he didn't do it, but it was supposed to be at the time, $1,800. Okay.
Wait, how long ago was this?
That's the thing. I didn't get the exact date, but $1,800.
$1,800, no matter what time. That's a lot. For right. What? What?
So, and then he said, but at the time when they were building up this site, I think women were free. So I was like, oh, score.
Yeah. Okay.
I love a bargain. So I get online to the website and I put in my request and I am called back within like 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I get on the phone with this lovely lady. I can't remember her name now.
Who cares?
She remembers mine. And we get into a conversation and I kind of want to be like, can you just tell me how much this is going to cost? But it's a sales call, right? Mm-hmm. She has me on the phone for like 50 minutes asking me all about myself, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm feeling confident about this. Somebody's going to match me up. Like they're going to match with people that I like. We'll meet and have lunch. And then if we don't like each other, you don't even exchange numbers beforehand. Like this is cool. Okay. These are going to make up for my friends that suck. So then she gets to the membership fee.
Oh God, what?
Now, Frances, it just so happens you called the day after Valentine's Day. So there is still a special through Friday where you can save $300 off.
$300 off? Oh, God.
Your membership will include at least four dates, but as many as you want. And we have over 45 vendors for where you will be able to meet your date for a meal. And the whole time,
you don't even get to pick. Wait, hold on. Now I'm doing the deep.
I don't know because I didn't pay.
Okay. Sorry.
And she's like, it's for 6 months. If you meet someone, you can freeze it. You'll get at least 4 dates. You'll meet for meals. Oh, and by the way, while I'm talking, she's like, oh my God, I was just on the phone with this cop from like LA and you sound just like what he's talking about. Verbatim what he's saying. So she's like hooking me in, right? She's hooking me in. Like she's already found my man.
She wants you to bite the bait.
Right.
You're all, okay, take my credit card now. I got to meet him.
$2,800.
Excuse me? $2,800 for 4 lunches?
Now with $300 off, that's a great bargain, Frances, because I know you're a single mom and $300 is a lot. And I was just, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Do you know how much money that is a date? Because I don't, because I can't do the math. But
wait. Wait, no, is that's $700 a date?
Yes, without the discount.
Hold on.
It's $625 a date.
Can you hear me? I'm like stuttering. Wait, it's like $700 a date to be set up on a lunch date. And then wait, does that pay for the lunch?
I'm pretty sure it pays for the lunch.
Okay. Well, the last time I had a $700 lunch was never.
Yeah. So I'm going, look, I know. I said, I was like, look, I know you're doing your job and I know you've got a business here. And she's like, well, we've just found that price point keeps out the riffraff.
The riffraff. Give me a friggin' break. So basically you and I are riffraff. Hey, I thought I was a good catch.
Oh, it gets better. So I'm like, look, I'm going to have to think about this because that's a lot of money. And in my head, I'm going, fuck no, there's no way I'm going to hand over this much money. You're stupid. Yeah. Like, I mean, no. But I could see how this would bring somebody in, like.
Well, obviously, if they've been around and they're, increasing the price over time. Right. Now, did the doctor that you work with, he did not use this service, right?
No.
He looked at it and he's like, what? So the doctor's riffraff too.
He is.
Well, who the hell is not riffraff? Some Saudi Arabian billionaire?
Right. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, what kind of people but this is where it really bugged me. So she won't stop. And I'm like, listen, like, I get it. And I understand you're trying to seal a deal here. That's fine. I'm going to have to think about it. Clearly go. And she's like, well, are you going to answer the phone tomorrow? I was like, yes, I'm going to answer the phone tomorrow when you call me back. Call me back tomorrow. So then she gets into her hard sales tactic. So she tried the, hey, I just have somebody on the other line type deal. And then she goes into like, you need to be first and foremost, like your happiness depends on this stuff. Like, how are you going to meet somebody, like as moms? And she's playing into the mom thing.
Now I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad now. Because now I just realized something. It's not Saudi Arabian like billionaires, which would be cool to meet, I guess. It's like the people that are just she's tapping into our vulnerability, yes. And she's going to end up like hooking in somebody who shuffles around their bills and tries to find credit cards to pay for this.
She offered.
Now I'm mad
that I could split it between 2 credit cards.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, I'm in a financial situation. I work 3 jobs. I work really hard. And by the way, I have 1 credit card because I'm trying to be smart with money. I'm trying to do this right. And now I'm trying to tell you, no, I can't. And now it gets one step further. Now I'm finding myself having to justify, look, I just put floors in my house. Apparently I'm going to tell everybody about my goddamn floors. And
they're beautiful though.
I swear she said something along the lines of, my floors are not going to keep me warm at night.
Excuse me, ma'am. Yes, they are. They're self-heating.
They're not, but they clean up really nice and they'll last forever.
Will you give me a friggin' break? Your floors won't keep you warm at night. Yeah, but you know what? They don't talk back. I'm kidding. I'm on one. I'm sorry. Where are my little hands?
Get the little hands. So I finally get off the phone. I leave it alone. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do this. There's no way. So the next day she calls and it's while I'm at work and I let it go to voicemail. So then she calls me back. She called back from a private number.
Wait, I'm sorry. Real quick. Floors don't get man colds. I'm sorry. I love you guys out there, literally men, but I'm sleep deprived because my husband has a man cold right now. Yeah, you heard me say it. I said man cold. He's got sniffles, so he can't help me with anything right now.
It's the worst. I love you men very, very much. I'm a huge fan, but you're big babies when you get sick.
So yeah, I'm sorry, but floors, they don't talk back. They don't get man colds. And you know what? They heat up themselves. So okay. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So I'm on the phone the next day. Or no, I get a private number and I answer and it's her. And I'm like, oh, I see what you did. You called me from a blocked number. And she's like, busted. Well, I just wanted to find out. And I'm like, listen, I appreciate it. I know you're trying to sell a service. You did a great job on the sale. You're not getting it from me.
Yeah.
The end. Call me back on Monday after I spent the weekend looking through Bumble, hard left, swipe. So she tried again. And I'm like, look, I literally am not. And here's the problem. I can see where this ropes in so many people, and I'm sure it has a great service, but fucking have a soul.
Let's take it one step further too. Let's get a little bit, pull out our therapist cap. Let's say $2,800, you pay for it and you go on the date. What's going to stop you from not owning your own bullshit? You might actually get hooked up with somebody on this service who is right for you. But if you haven't done the emotional work, you're not going to see him or her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're just paying almost $3,000 to get hooked up with somebody to eat lunch with. You know what? It's free to go down to a restaurant and find somebody who's alone and just be like, you look like you're alone. Me too. Let's have lunch. There's more to be gained doing that. And I'm not saying a stranger to be intimately involved with. I'm just saying there's more to be learned from an emotional standpoint of going outside of your comfort zone and going up to a stranger and asking them to lunch, or, pulling up next side somebody who's alone at a bar, perhaps, I don't know, than just to blindly give almost $3,000 to go to lunch. Because what's to say you're even going to be able to recognize that maybe this person is right for me? Because no, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or on the flip side, maybe because you've invested so much, you make it work. You force the square peg into the round hole, or vice versa. Because I put this much money into it, I need to show a return on my investment.
Right. So now it's I have to make this work.
Right.
I paid $700 to come to a restaurant. We're making this work, buddy. At the wedding, they're like, hi, where are my vows? Well, see, I paid $700 to meet you, so we kind of had to make this work. No, I'm just being super sarcastic, but wow, I don't know, man. I really love how your boss ended up marrying the person that he was I would never date her in a million years. And it's not for I bet I don't even know who your boss is, but did he give you reasons why she was somebody that he would never date?
Just totally different views in terms of life experiences. And, I think they differ on social outlooks and things like that. I mean, they're just different.
Yeah.
The type that wouldn't work. But I found something that I wanted to read right here, because I posted this, and actually it was funny because you messaged me, you're like, are you okay? I post a lot of self-help type stuff on my Instagram, by the way. It's Shut Up Skippy. And I am a total devotee to this Create the Love account. And I wanted to read this because it applies to the dating, and people might be going this doesn't have anything to do with me, but it has to do with life and pushing that comfort zone we've talked about. It's a little lengthy, so bear with me. It says, it's ironic how our hearts can still get hurt by something our minds have seen coming. We've all been there, right?
Right.
Saw it coming. Your emotions and your logic aren't connected. It says, it's fascinating that we can know something in our minds, but still go down the path that we know is not emotionally good for us. In day-to-day life, this is simple to understand. We know heroin is bad for us, yet we do it. That's if you do it. Okay.
Right.
We know smoking is bad for us, but people do it because, quote, knowing something doesn't mean shit. Understanding something, although a wonderful potential catalyst for change, doesn't mean anything either, because what we choose is ultimately what we believe we deserve. It reaffirms our identity and what we believe about ourselves. So pay attention to this. You can say you want an amazing relationship, but be in one that totally sucks, or that's even mediocre, and yet it's not what you say you want, but you can't seem to either invite yourself or your partner to grow and change, and or leave it because it's not moving forward. We all know communication, honesty, intimacy, and effort are what make relationships work, yet we don't dig deep often, do we? Or when someone truly loving shows up, we don't seem to like them. Why? Because we don't believe we deserve them. The key to understanding your choices and changing your life is discovering what your core beliefs are, because whatever you truly believe about love, life, and what's possible will always be reflected in your life. It was crazy confronting when I first learned this, because I saw I was playing so small because it was so hard for me to believe that I deserved great love or that I could make a living doing a job I was super passionate about. But when I realized that I didn't trust and believe that we can do anything we want in life, and relationships, although often challenging, are meant to be a good source of elevation and beautiful containers for growth. So that's Create the Love. I absolutely love this guy, and his girlfriend and him do a lot of stuff on relationships online. But it's like we just get scared.
We get scared. Yeah. And I want to add too that I felt that I did deserve the love when I met my husband. I actually had come out of I had broken up with a boyfriend, and then I said, all right, my picker is broken and I feel like I need a hard reset. And I had never taken, from the time that I was 15 years old, I got my first boyfriend, up until the time I was 30. So 15 years straight, I was pretty much like a serial monogamous. I was always in a relationship. And if I wasn't in a relationship and I had broken up with somebody, I always had somebody in the wing, a friends with benefit situation. So I was always surrounded by somebody who had my attention, or, vice versa, whatever it was. And I thought to myself, I need a hard reset because I keep finding the same person, and I know that I deserve love, and I believe I'm ready for it, but I'm ready for something different, but I don't think that I can see it right now because it's 15 years solid of doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I took 6 months off of literally no sex, no giving away my phone number. I didn't care if I met somebody that I felt truly was well, what if he's my soulmate? Nope, sorry. If you're my soulmate, you'll find me in 6 months from now. I didn't say that to anybody. I didn't even get to the point of explaining myself because I didn't want anyone to have the opportunity to try to talk me out of it. I just stayed away from people. I went to work and I came home and I hung out with my dog, and I read a lot of books, and I taught myself how to do face painting as a hobby. And I bought things like small plastic hands to wave at people. And I just focused on myself. I did a lot of volunteer work. I took a lot of baths, and I didn't go to any bars, nothing. And so when I came out of that 6-month hiatus, I felt more ready and prepared. But I got to be honest here, right? I met my husband, and because he was attractive. In fact, he was 46 when we met. And I remember my friend was he's a little bit older than you, because I was 30. I just turned 31 actually. I'm like, how old? Because I'd never dated anybody older other than maybe a year or two. And she was 46. But look at his picture. And truly, I looked at his picture and he looked like he might have been in his mid 30s. He took phenomenal care of himself. But he wasn't who I typically am attracted to. He didn't give me the crazy butterflies right out of the gate. I wasn't, that's what Dr. Drew said, is go on a date with somebody who's kind of boring. Not that they're boring, but that it's just this even kind of neutral feel. It's not one way or the other, because it's when we meet people initially that send off oh my God, yes, I need to be around them and I want to have sex with them and I'm just crazy for them. That's when we start making decisions that aren't the best for our emotional health, and we get into things and stay in them because they're really, really cute, or because we genuinely do fall in love with them, but looking back, they weren't the right person for us. So when I met my husband, I didn't have, for the first time, any of those super butterflies. I didn't want to jump his bones. You know what I mean? I just was yeah, all right. Sitting here talking to the guy. I had a great time with him. He's an amazing conversationalist, but it wasn't anything really to write home about. Now, if I had not done that 6-month hiatus, I would have written him off quicker than I can write something off. He was boring. I don't care. I didn't want to have sex with him, so that must mean something. I would have told myself a million things to run away from this guy, But because I was in a different mindset, I remained open to the experience. And I'm own your own bullshit, Deanna. Stop trying to be a squirrely, little like fleeing, like, because I would flee. That's what I would do, is like, oh, this is feeling uncomfortable, or it's not feeling like my norm,
Mm-hmm.
and normal, and is like, your normal is like what we're comfortable with, right?
And up until that point, your normal wasn't working very well.
Exactly. And I had to remember that. I kept telling myself, what you've been doing has not been working for you. So remain open to this experience. And I took it really, really slow with him. In fact, our second date, I did run away from him. Actually, it wasn't really our second date. He popped up on I was at a 4th of July party. And because he was like mutual friends with my friend, and my friend was really pushing it hard, like, I want you to be with this guy, she invited him to the party. I didn't invite him. And then he just showed up and was like really pleasant. Like, he wasn't creepy. He like walked in and he was like socializing with other people, and he was really nice. I got mad and I went home. And I left him. I was just like, okay, well, it's been real, bye. And even then I had to go, why are you doing this? Why are you running? He's a really nice guy. And I did my whole like line of questioning on the first date or first meetup, where I was asking him pretty heavy questions. In fact, it was almost kind of like questions to see if I could scare him away. And I did.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that. Now, I've also been in that situation though, where I'm like, it's not butterflies, but on paper it looks okay. And also that, oh, well, this is kind of different. And then it's, ugh. I should have just not even tried.
Yeah, we should be clear that we're not telling everybody to like go find the one person that does not feel right at all and just make it work. That's not what we're saying. Like, you definitely have to use some critical thinking here, some constructive thinking, and just really look at it from like a big, wide perspective. Because my husband had all of the things that I wanted. Really, like, when I think about like, I would prefer for him to be close with his family. I want him to have a job. I would like for him to do these things, ticket it off from my little checklist. I'm like, well, it's all there. But something initially was missing. It wasn't missing though. Looking back, it wasn't missing. It was that I was finally giving myself time to really get to know somebody before jumping into a commitment.
Into feelings. Okay.
Into feelings, right. Because believe me, now I'm married to him. I've never been so emotionally connected with somebody. I've never had such meaningful interactions with another human being. I've never felt this type of support and love. The physical chemistry is there. Everything is there exactly how I wanted it. I just gave it an opportunity to get there in a healthy, patient way.
Which isn't the standard now, and I think that's why I was like, fuck, when I got divorced again. It's changed in the last few years with things like we have a problem with instant gratification as a society. Mm-hmm. I feel sick to my stomach using the apps where you swipe left or right. Because I'm like, this doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. But this is where I guess I have questions, and I don't know if our listeners can like message us and let us know, or Deanna, I don't know. How does dating multiple people at once work?
And are you talking about like you're single and you're on like Tinder, like on an app or whatever?
Okay. So I went and paid for a service, not $2,800. When you're gonna go out on dates with different people and you're just dating, like, I don't know how that works. I'm with you on that. You found somebody and you were with them, and then when they broke up, you found, what I mean, that
right,
serial monogamous. Okay, I don't know what the rules are.
Okay, so here's my take, and it's just my take. I didn't write a freaking book. I'm not saying that I'm like the queen of figuring this out, because I'm not. Because if I, God forbid, was single again, I'd be like, oh man, not this again. Even though I feel like I've got like a stronger handle on it based on what I like kind of emotionally went through prior to meeting my husband. I feel like people put so much friggin' pressure on themselves, other people, and put these titles and my stance is this, like, yes, you want to be honest with other people. You want to be honest with people. But going on like a few dinner dates doesn't necessarily mean you're dating somebody. Even let's just take, for example, the anxiety that comes from a first date. Because I used to have a lot of anxiety about that. Like, oh God, like it's just so awkward. I don't know. What if I have something in my teeth? And I just reframed it. Forget the word date. This is an opportunity to go hang out with another human being. That's it. And I would, certainly there were some dates that like got awkward because the person was like being overly aggressive in terms of my feelings. Like they wanted to take it to like a physical place. And I was like, all right, bye. And I'm totally fine with like cutting it off and just being like, I'm going home. But like, I would even go on dates with people that's like, because I did online dating, who like, they physically did not look like the person in the picture. They're not somebody I would be typically attracted to. They lied, basically.
Oh, God help me the first time I'm catfished.
I've been catfished. Well, not catfished, but yeah. Like they used a picture that was like 12 years old that was really good quality because it looked like a whatever. And even so, I wouldn't make it awkward and be like, you know what? I'm here for a reason to find a boyfriend, to find a husband, and how dare you waste my time? I would just kind of reframe it and approach it like, okay, this is a little weird, but whatever. It's just another human being. I'm not getting married to you. We're literally sharing a lunch. We share lunches with coworkers we don't even like. Like at the very least, like just look at it as leading up to this date. Obviously, you guys had some things in common. You've agreed to meeting this person. So just be a decent human being. If you're comfortable with sticking around, have dinner and then leave. And don't beat yourself up about it. These are the things that we need to get to the end game. If your end game is to get married, well, yeah, these are the little life experiences. But
I don't know about that.
Well, I feel like we put so much damn pressure on ourselves. And if we could just chill out a little bit, that also helps us navigate through a date better. Because how many times I've been on dates where I'm just super anxious and I'm like, I really want this to work. I really want this to work because I really want a boyfriend. I really like this guy, And then I'm just fumbling all over myself. I can't remember things. The conversation is choppy because I'm not myself. I'm performing.
So that makes absolute sense. Can I give you one thing I do get hung up on? I know, and I guess this is where it goes into labels and maybe this, doing some self-reflection. I don't know. I'm one of these people that if I'm going to be intimate with somebody, it's one person. And here's why. I'm 34, almost 35. I've had 2 kids, 2 pregnancies, both planned. So that means that I'm good with the birth control. Okay. I am so horrified. What if I end up on Maury Povich and I have to have that conversation of, I don't know who the father is.
Oh my God, stop it. That's just your anxiety.
So that's where my head goes. So it's always kind of this funny thing where it's well, I don't know that I necessarily am that into you, but just in case this could end up on Maury, I'm not going to try anything else.
You are ridiculous.
I know.
Wait, so you're saying that the reason why you can't be involved intimately with more than one person is because, God forbid, you end up on Maury Povich? Oh my God, Frances. No, stop it. I think if you get to a place of being able to just chill out with the whole titles and where you fit and how they fit and whatever, blah, blah, blah. We've lost the fun of dating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the fun is gone. And if we can just get back to the fun of meeting people, I'm telling you, the date word is triggering. I feel like it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just go, I just want to have some fun with a person and get to know them as a human being. I'm just going to hang out with somebody for a couple hours. I don't know, at least for me, it totally helped in reframing what the hell I was doing. Because the whole date, I don't know. And then also I would like to, I like to remind myself that if I'm nervous, most likely they're nervous. And you know what makes things really awkward is when two nervous people just can't get their shit together and they're both nervous and fumbling all over the place. And then like the awkward like bubble just continues to grow. And like I get it. Believe me, I get it. I'm not trying to ostracize or make anyone feel bad about their very natural response to like meeting somebody new. It can be nerve-wracking, but if we can reframe it just a little bit and be like, just take the pressure off yourself and take away the title. Because what does that title even really serve, especially in the beginning?
Well, I think, and so see, I see what you're saying in the beginning, but then I do also think that people use that as a cop-out to not establish relationships with expectations. So,
well, let me tell you this. If somebody's going to do that, then they've done you a favor because they're showing you where they're emotionally at really quick. And take that at face value, unless you want to waste your time. But I would say don't say, oh, they don't really mean that. We'll see. Like, I'm a really good girlfriend. So like once I hook them in, their mind is going to change. I can say that because I've done it before. Who the hell hasn't? Especially when the person's smoking hot. You get what I'm saying though? Take people for what they say at face value. Don't try to infer things or make up in your mind that they didn't really mean that. And then in addition to that, if you're engaging in this relationship with this person, whether it's friends with benefits, whether it's like, exclusive dating, then things get a little bit more serious in that now you can't just take things at face value and just listen to their words. You also need to look at their behavior and does it match with what they're saying? Because, we've all been there where it's like, oh, I want to be with you. I want this relationship. Well, sir, you're certainly not acting like it. You know what I mean? Like we find ourselves in relationships that are like emotionally, I know I have, emotionally vacant, or the person's just not there in the way that I need them to be emotionally. And then you start making up all sorts of excuses about why they're doing that. And then you stay. And then it's 2 years later and now you're filled with resentment. Or maybe I'm just talking from experience. So it's definitely a balancing act, right?
it's a balancing act that no one knows how to do is what I'm coming to like see here. So I think what's interesting is I do want to say this. Nowhere do I think that because, and I think we get this sometimes, and I think this goes back to the lady that was trying to push me on the $2,800 dating option. There is no shame in being single, in being strategic, and in being protective of your space and your life and your happiness. There is no shame in that. So when people are like, "Oh, Frances, you'll meet somebody," fuck off. I mean, I know that's coming from a nice place,
right?
But I'm not sharing this stuff for a pity party. You don't need to hook me up with your son that lives in the basement, has never had a job, just so I'm not sleeping by myself. I like the bed by myself because I can get up in the morning and I pull the blanket over and it's made in 2 seconds.
Right. Exactly.
Not that I don't know anything about that. So anyway.
So, okay, your picker is broken. So we have determined we're going to do an intervention, right? We're going to do an intervention. Our intervention is we have decided that Frances is going to go back on online dating, but one that's a little bit more involved. We're not going to give out any names.
Yeah, because they're not paying me for it.
Wait, we're going to do 2 things.
This is all, we're winging this right now. I don't know what, Deanna has a look of mischief on her face.
I'm like scratching my head with my tiny little rubber hand, like, oh, okay. Or actually I'm rubbing them together like, ooh. Okay. So you're going to make a profile, and then because your picker is broken, I'm going to step in and be your picker. And we're going to do like a social experiment. So Frances is going to hand over her password. Okay. And I'm going to screen everybody that contacts her. I'm also going to browse myself and see if I can find somebody.
I'm terrified.
I also need you to sign a contract that says if I hook you up on a date and it goes terribly, that I am not responsible. But truly, I feel like there's something to this though, because we all have our own life experiences and our emotional baggage and whatever is going on, swirling on in our brains, which navigate how we pick people for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And you've certainly done online dating before, and you've said yourself, your picker is broken because you keep picking these guys who look differently but are the same.
Well, and here's, I guess, the interesting thing is, and I guess I want to throw this out as a disclaimer, is that just because something doesn't work doesn't mean somebody's necessarily a bad person, right? Now,
right.
On another episode, we'll share the conversation about the time that an ex-boyfriend, well, his boyfriend at the time in high school, stole my parents' truck. We'll cover that later.
Oh boy.
But sometimes, and that's the other thing, is like, if it's not working, it's not working. Like that quote I read earlier, call a spade a spade. And sometimes maybe you're better friends and you're better dating, and maybe some people, they're just better out of your life. But you're right. And then I need to step back a little bit and put this into the trust of my friends who know what they're doing. Sort
of know what they're doing. But I think here's a really good point that we're trying to make here is, obviously, if you came to us and said, I'm in a relationship where the guy or girl disrespects me, where they're abusive, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to get too into this example here, but obviously in an ideal world, we would say, you've got to get out of it, and you get out of it and you're safe and you move on. And we try not to date people like that ever again. Okay. Obviously that topic is very complex, and for sake of time, I can't get into all the intricacies of that. However, what we're talking about is where you're in a relationship and the person is actually like they could be very nice, and they could actually look much better than all of our other options that we've dated in the past. But Frances and I have talked about this before. Like, I was with somebody who was, when you compare, okay, the analogy of the shoe that I gave last night.
Oh God, it was so good. Because seriously, Deanna was counseling me off the air.
So say you've been dating this group of people who are just friggin' terrible. Like, we've got all sorts of stories we can share, and then you're getting better. Your picker is getting a little bit better. And you're now in a relationship with somebody who, compared to all those other people, are like the king and queen of the civilized world. You know what I mean? Like, they're great in comparison. But that doesn't mean that they're good enough in the context of you being committed to them in this relationship. So the analogy I use was like, so you went from like wearing a pair of shoes that are like soulless and made of thorns to now wearing shoes that are like 2 sizes too small for you, like, or even a size small for you. You could certainly walk around in shoes that are too small for you, but after a couple of days in those shoes, your toes are going to be banged up. Your feet are going to hurt. It's going to affect your entire overall well-being. You don't want to go anywhere because your shoes friggin' hurt because they're too small. Yes, 2 small shoes are way better than shoes made of thorns. However, they're still not the right fit. They're still not going to take you places where you'd like to head to, of greener pastures and healthier interactions with people. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You want to know how I'm starting to sort through, though? Because here's the other thing. I need people to know what's up when they see my profile. So to explain to you some of the photos, my profile photo is me I'm dressed very nice, but I'm crossing my eyes and sticking my tongue out because I need them to understand, look, this is me.
Exactly. So what are you telling me? You haven't had pictures like that in the past?
Well, I think on these on the dating profiles, because I've only done a little bit of this, I've often tried to stay away from ever putting my image up, because then like radio, dude.
I hear you. I get where
there are some weirdos. Look, if
do you have an alias?
It's not that I have an alias, but like, I'll give you an example. If I swiped left and we're not matching on Bumble, don't find me online and then harass me for 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. So your particular situation is very unique.
It's very different. But
yeah, you're in the public eye.
Right. Look, I'm flattered, but have some boundaries, because then in this one case, like if I even respond, it's like, oh, you responded. But I don't want to block, because then I can't keep an eye on you. It gets weird. But so anyway, opening picture, there's that. I also put up a picture of me doing a Spartan race wearing my Chris Pratt shirt. Now, if you've never witnessed my Chris Pratt shirt on my Shut Up Skippy page, it is Chris Pratt's face multiple times on my t-shirt, and I've worn it to almost every Spartan race. If you can't hang with my Chris Pratt shirt, you can't hang with me.
Right. Totally. And I feel like that is a good representation of you, because you're not, it's a good weeding out.
Right. If you can't handle that, then I need you to move along. Also,
like I have a dog. I've had my dog for 10 years now. I adopted her when I was single girl, living it up. And I have pictures of my dog, who's huge and not hypoallergenic. She's a Rottweiler. She sheds everywhere. So I want people to know, when I was online dating, that I have a huge dog. If you're afraid of dogs, it's not going to work. If you're allergic to dogs, it's not going to work. That way we don't even have to waste our time having this conversation.
Yeah. So
I've got another, I'm just going to throw this out there, and this might not even make, we'll see if you agree or disagree. Okay. So yesterday I was online and I noticed, I'm not even going to give the name, although I'm sure people can Google it. I noticed that somebody came out with a website for people who support our current administration.
It's a dating website.
It's a dating website.
Because, it's important. Sometimes it's important to find people that have your same views.
Right. And I also want to say that I come from a family that's split down the center. Like my dad says he's middle of the road, but he's Republican, like based on like the stuff that he says and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I have very close friends who are Republican. Whatever. I don't want to make this political. The only reason why I bring this up is I'm all for people finding their match. And certainly it wouldn't make sense if you're a huge Trump supporter to be on like a liberal website. I get that. I'm not talking crap about you and your choices. However, somebody on Reddit tried to make a profile on this website, and he tried registering the name Hitler and white power, and they were already taken. I'm sorry to laugh. It's so ridiculous. And that is what disturbs me greatly. And I'm sure there are weirdos on other websites, but when I get assaulted by things like that, I pull out my bubble machine, my little plastic little hands. I find my daughter and smother her with kisses. I have to balance the universe. There's like, this was the yin. Where is my yang? So I have a new idea. Here's my proposed yang. If there are people out there who are registering handles like Hitler and white power on far-leaning right political dating websites, why don't we I'm going to start a matchmaking service. What if I highlight like a fellow humanitarian on Instagram? Because I'm telling you, there are a lot of people who are single who are really super rad, who would never register a handle of Hitler on a dating website.
Boom. Hashtag humanitarian singles.
Oh my God.
We should do that.
I'm doing this. My friend, God, I don't want to botch it because I actually really, I love her. Hold on one second.
So I tried doing that. I tried doing something called Skippy Singles on the air, and it never took off. I wanted to plan speed dating because I know a lot of great listeners who are all single. but it just didn't work out from like from a planning standpoint. But man, if I could make that happen, I totally would.
Oh, I'm in full support. Yeah. So my friend that I met on Instagram, she's an Instagram bud, Single Woman Probs Instagram. I love her. She's super sweet. I actually text messaged her last night because she does like a single shout out, like a single person shout out. I think she does like once a week. I don't. And I said, hey, I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, have you had any luck with that? Like, have you ever like actually hooked up people? And she was like, I have. And I'm so proud of myself. And I was like, boom, that's all I needed to hear. This is my, what was it? The other one was yang. So this is my yang to that yang. We're doing it. And you know what? You are the first person I'm going to put up. Give me your consent, please.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do that. That's going to be a new thing. If you are single, please DM us.
You know what? DM us, but also do me a favor, actually write us on the Gmail. So Humanitarians Podcast. So Humanitarians. Yeah. I'm like, because I want, it's 2 H's. So Humanitarians Podcast at gmail.com. If you are interested, and we're not going to like, do not write us to say that you're interested in having your friend be highlighted. No.
Short little bio. Think of it as like 150 words. It's going to be a caption. It's going to be your photo. We need your consent.
Yes.
And then just your handle, right? Because then from there, when all that stuff comes pouring in, you got to deal with that yourself.
Yeah. They're not messaging us. Like we're going to put your picture, we're going to do your little caption that you created in the email, say, I consent to you guys using my picture and putting it on Humanitarians Singles, right? And then we'll just have people, just if you're interested, DM you.
See what happens. Include your location, by the way, because that is going to be an important piece.
I'm curious if this is going to work. So, Frances, if you're into it, I want to throw you up on the Hilarious Humanitarian Instagram because I am convinced. I've had so many men write me, like DM me to just tell me like how much they love the Hilarious Humanitarian Instagram. And I never ask them like, hey, are you single? Because a lot of times they're private, but I've got some attractive, like well-meaning, hardworking people that follow me. And I've like, well, if one day, God forbid, I was single, I might hit you up.
It's funny you say that because I've hooked up listeners.
Yeah.
I've been like, oh, you would work this way and this would work well. So, maybe.
Get out of your comfort zone, Frances. So yeah, that's what I propose. So I'm going to pick you people by using your profile. And if you text message me and go, hey, I saw that really hot dude wrote me and why didn't you tell me about him? Because I'm your new picker.
Oh, God.
Stand back.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up today, we would love, by the way, if you want to email us or get in touch, we would love to hear some of those like dating horror stories you have or situations where, you've recognized your picker's been broken. As we wrap up,
that's the new quote, by the way. That's the quote of the episode. My picker's broken. That's going on a shirt. Let us know if you want one.
Any self-care stuff you've done for the week, Deanna, that you want to share? Because we do like to do this segment because we think it's important that you take time out of your day to do things that recharge you. You have to have fuel in the tank.
Yeah, I did a few things. One, we'll post a picture of me with my plastic tiny hands.
Yes.
It sounds stupid, but Frances and I cracked up for a few minutes, before we hit record. Humor and laughter is a necessity in my life. So definitely I had to hunt these little hands down. I didn't know where they were because we moved and whatever. I was like, where are my tiny hands? My husband's like, what did you just say? I'm like, where are my tiny little hands? I love him. Anyhow. And then also just because anybody that follows me on Instagram knows that I'm not somebody to like back down from having like a tough discussion or back down from voicing my opinion on matters that affect a lot of us. So after the Parkland shooting. I do what I do every time there's a shooting, where I voice my opinion on the matter. And not only that, but I voice what I believe we should be working toward. So like actual concrete things that I think we should be engaging in to make change. With that comes an a huge amount of support and a huge amount of frustrating, annoying, heart-wrenching, soul-sucking responses. I actually have a moderator on my Instagram page that helps me moderate offensive comments and insults, and I text message her and I was like, I'm really sorry for this week. I'm really giving you a run for your money. Like, I'm going to send you some bath bombs or something to like recover from this. She's like, thank you for the heads up and the warning. But a part of my self-care was just walking away from social media, turning off my phone, not worrying about what was coming in and all the DMs that I haven't responded to, and grabbing my tiny plastic hands and waving at myself in a mirror and making myself laugh. So that was my self-care for the week. What was yours?
I've unfollowed a few people. To be perfectly honest.
The Unfollow Friday.
Yeah. Oh, it became Unfollow Monday, Unfollow Tuesday, Unfollow Sunday. And that's for a number of reasons. I've talked about this. It's for ignorance that's perpetuated. It's also for, I've talked about how like I have to be real careful with some of the accounts that are based on like physical fitness and stuff. Cause we've talked about like, I know I've got like my own, eating disorder history. So like I can't get wrapped up in that. I see those behaviors that tend to lead towards that. So I unfollowed a few people. And then also my co-host on my morning show was so proud. I messaged him from bed Sunday morning. I slept until 9 and I forced myself to stay in bed. I was playing on my phone and listening to the birds outside until 10 a.m., which I love it. Cannot tell you the last time I did that. I average about 5 hours of sleep a night. So
nope.
Pretty solid. So
oh my God.
Also, to hold myself accountable, while we've been talking, I did just send Deanna my login information for the date website. So, and I did have a few messages this morning, and I did correspond a little bit. The one about this, and here's why.
Okay,
is that the website did give me compatibility statistics based on my very extensive thing I filled out. So,
all right.
But I'm letting you in. I'm letting you into my DMs too, Deanna.
Ooh, I got her password and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I am.
Oh, I'll tell you my password. No, I won't, because then if somebody finds me, but it has an expletive.
Yeah, it's just hilarious. I'll just say that. Okay, so in sharing a piece of fan mail, I got a postcard. It's so pretty. See?
Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah,
nice. Hot Atlanta.
From Atlanta. Says, I found your Instagram through Teacher Misery's Instagram. I am a teacher and I've loved all your posts ever since. Thank you for your kindness, energy, humor, and uplifting messages. Please keep it up. Thank you so much for this. We absolutely love getting our fan mail and our postcards of where you guys are from. So if you're interested, send us a postcard of where you're living currently. Also, I wanted to point out that Teacher Misery is one of my favorite accounts on Instagram, and she's going to be, I believe she's going to be our next guest.
Nice.
Next episode or so. Tune in, guys.
Stay tuned for that. All right. Please review us. Share if you like what you're hearing. That way more people can hear. Big thank you, too, for getting us up. We got to like number 3 at one point on the health top 200. So Dr. Drew, who we mentioned earlier, I know you see us above you.
At least for that hour.
It was, and we screenshotted the hell out of that and saved it for posterity.
I'm putting it in a photo album.
So the time capsule. And so thank you. We'll be back next week. Keep in touch. Hilarious Humanitarian. Also, Shut Up Skippy. And we also have a podcast specific Instagram as well.
Humanitarians Podcast. So check us out. Follow us.
Yeah, and I'm also a fan of Snap, although I hate their new interface, but you can find me there, Shut Up Skippy. So thank you, Deanna.
Thank you, Frances. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next time.